Eleanor sat on her porch, a cup of tea warming her hands, watching the sun dip below the horizon. Lately, she had been feeling something unsettling, like time was slipping through her fingers. She had spent her life checking the right boxes, raising a family, keeping a home, being there for everyone. But now, at 72, she found herself wondering, what about me? Had I truly learned how to be happy? That question set her on a path she never expected, a journey of uncovering the truths that had been waiting for her all along. 5 essential life lessons that, once understood, changed everything. These aren't just words of wisdom, they're the keys to lasting happiness. The first one, it's the most important of all, and it's one we often overlook. 1. Happiness is an inside job. For years, Eleanor believed happiness was something just out of reach, something she'd finally feel when the house was perfectly organized, when her children were settled, and when she had checked every responsibility off her list. It was always just one step away, waiting in the future. But the future kept moving forward, and happiness remained an elusive finish line. Then one day, she met an old friend for lunch, someone she hadn't seen in years. To her surprise, this friend, who had once been reserved and cautious, now radiated joy. She seemed lighter, at ease. Eleanor had to ask, "What changed?" The friend smiled. "I stopped waiting for happiness to arrive, and decided to create it myself." That one sentence flipped a switch in Eleanor's mind. Happiness isn't something you achieve, it's something you cultivate. It's not about having the perfect life, the perfect house, or the perfect circumstances. It's about finding joy in the life you have right now. Start small with gratitude. Every morning, before you even get out of bed, think of 3 things you're grateful for. It rewires your brain to focus on abundance rather than lack. Stop seeking approval. Eleanor realized how much of her happiness had depended on what others thought of her. The moment she let that go, she felt an incredible sense of freedom. Live in the present. The past is a memory. The future is unknown. The only moment we truly have is this one. And if you can find even a sliver of joy in this moment, you're already winning. Eleanor started practicing these small shifts daily, and something unexpected happened. She no longer felt like she was waiting for life to start. She was already living it, and for the first time in years, she realized that happiness had been there all along. She just had to let it in. 2. Let go of what no longer serves you. It happened at a family gathering. Eleanor was catching up with her niece, a bright young woman in her 30s, when the conversation turned to old grudges. "I just don't have time to be angry anymore," her niece said with a shrug. Eleanor was stunned. No time to be angry. She had spent years, decades even, carrying certain resentments, people who had hurt her, moments that still stung. She thought she had let go, but deep down she was still holding on to the weight of past disappointments. That night, she lay awake, reflecting, what had all that anger given her? Nothing but sleepless nights and a heart too full of old wounds to make room for new joys. That's when she made a decision. It was time to let go. Letting go isn't about pretending the pain never happened. It's about deciding that it no longer has the power to shape your future. Write a release letter. She sat down with a notepad and wrote to the people, experiences, and emotions she needed to release. She poured out her thoughts, then folded the letter and let it go. Burned it, shredded it, or simply threw it away. Say it out loud. Sometimes the simple act of saying, "I choose to let this go," is enough to break its hold on you. Eleanor whispered it to herself every morning, and slowly the weight lifted. Fill the space. When you let go of resentment, you create space for something better. Peace, joy, and even forgiveness. Eleanor focused on new experiences and meaningful conversations rather than dwelling on the past. The transformation was almost immediate. She felt lighter, freer, and for the first time in years, she could truly say that the past no longer defined her. Because happiness isn't just about what you gain, it's about what you're brave enough to release. 3. Embrace change with open arms. Eleanor never liked change. Change meant uncertainty, and uncertainty made her uneasy.
She had always been the kind of person who liked things just so. Her morning routine, the way she arranged the furniture, even the route she took to the grocery store.
Predictability made life comfortable, but comfort wasn't always the same as happiness. She remembered the moment everything shifted. It was the day she moved out of the home she had lived in for over 40 years. Downsizing was logical, less space, less maintenance, but emotionally, it felt like leaving a part of herself behind. She clung to memories wrapped in every room, every crack in the wall, every sunlit corner where she had once read bedtime stories to her children. Then, something surprising happened. After settling into her new space, Eleanor noticed something she hadn't felt in years: lightness. Without the burden of maintaining a large house, she had more energy, more time, and more freedom. She took up morning walks, joined a book club, and even traveled to visit an old friend she hadn't seen in decades. The move, which had once seemed like an ending, became a beginning. That's the thing about change. It feels terrifying at first, but more often than not, it's the very thing that leads to growth, new experiences, and unexpected joy. Because the truth is, life is change, and the sooner we embrace it, the sooner we find the freedom waiting on the other side. 4. Invest in meaningful relationships. Eleanor had always been surrounded by people: her children, her co-workers, her husband, her neighbors. But one evening, as she sat at her kitchen table, she realized something unsettling. She felt lonely. It wasn't about the number of people in her life, it was about the depth of her connections. Over the years, some friendships had faded, and others had become surface level. She had let relationships slide because life got busy. Now, at 72, she saw clearly, happiness didn't come from being busy with people. It came from being truly seen by them. So she made a decision. She would no longer settle for half-hearted connections. She started small, calling an old friend just to chat, writing letters to people she had lost touch with, inviting a neighbor for coffee. Slowly, she rebuilt her circle, not with many people, but with the right ones. Eleanor's loneliness didn't vanish overnight, but with each heartfelt conversation, each shared laugh, each meaningful moment, her heart felt full again. Because in the end, happiness isn't just about what we do, it's about who we share it with. 5. It's never too late to reinvent yourself. If you had told Eleanor at 50 that she would take up painting at 72, she would have laughed. She was never the creative type. That was for artists, for dreamers, not for a woman who had spent her life being practical and responsible. But one afternoon, while helping her granddaughter with an art project, something unexpected happened. She picked up a brush, dipped it into a swirl of blues and greens, and let herself play. It was messy, it was imperfect, but it was fun. That's when she realized, who says we have to stop discovering ourselves just because we're older? So she bought a few supplies, signed up for a class, and painted her first real piece. It wasn't about talent, it wasn't about creating something perfect. It was about learning, trying, and finding joy in something new. Eleanor wasn't just painting, she was proving to herself that she was still becoming, that her best days weren't behind her, they were right now. And that, more than anything, is the secret to lasting happiness. Who knew a few life lessons could feel like a secret cheat code to happiness? Eleanor did the work. And now it's your turn. Which lesson hit home for you? Drop a comment below. Oh, and remember, life's not over at 70, 80, or even 90. It's just getting interesting.